We're a month away from the start of the pro football regular season. The Arizona Cardinals just finished their training camp. What's ahead for the team this season? Plus, is the U.S. housing market showing signs of another collapse? We're talking with a financial analyst who warned about the 2008 housing crisis before it happened. And is Arizona prepared for an economic downturn? It's all that and more this evening on Broomhead. Welcome, I'm Mike Broomhead. Before we jump into today's interviews, let's take a look at some of the top headlines. Let's start with changes to the election manual. A lot of talk about elections, and we know in Texas they're talking about changing the congressional district lines. But here in Arizona, it's about the election manual and the rules. The Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, did make a concession and a rule change. Originally, he wanted to say that the state of Arizona could certify elections even if all of the counties hadn't individually certified the elections. The Republicans were taking it to court. They said the counties have to certify before the state can certify overall. The Secretary of State eventually acquiesced and said, okay, and he's making that change to the election manual. It may seem like a small change, but it is very significant that each individual county is responsible to certify the election in that county before the state can be certified. It sounds small, but I promise you it's a much bigger deal. Now let's talk about schools. We know that multiple school districts around the valley are talking about school closures. Some of them have already closed schools because enrollment is down. Are schools spending money the way they are supposed to? The Dysart School District, and you decide right or wrong, announced to parents that 400 students, more than that, maybe close to 450, would not have bus service because the district needed to save about $500,000. A few months later, the district took almost 200 teachers to Vegas for a 3-day conference. The superintendent and the school board said it was a great conference. It was very educational and well worth it. But I will tell you that Maricopa County and the superintendent's office offer the exact same training locally. The districts don't have to go to the county. The county actually goes into the districts. They can choose a la carte the training they want. It's continuing education throughout the year. And it's at a fraction of the cost of what Dysart spent in Vegas. You decide what's right or wrong, but are these districts accountable? And if so, who are they accountable to for how your tax dollars are spent? They're having to close schools, and they're worried about classroom sizes. Are we spending district money the right way? Always the question that they should ask and answer. Coming up, the Arizona Cardinals just finished training camp. How is the team looking for the 2025 season? We head out to State Farm Stadium to chat with the owner, Michael Bidwill, when Broomhead returns. It's important to recognize and thank the fine Arizona men and women who are serving in our country's military. One of the ways we like to do that is through a segment called From Arizona for America, and it's brought to you by my good friends at Sanderson Ford. So join me in honoring Senior Chief Musician Caroline Evans, a native of Flagstaff, stationed in Fayetteville, Georgia. For a list of more of our friends and neighbors that are from Arizona for America, go to the Broomhead tab at cw7az.com. Cardinals wrapping up training camp here this week, and I am with the team president, Michael Bidwill. How exciting, I mean, it's got to be every year, but how excited are you this close to the season starting, watching the team come together? What's it like?
Well, I think I speak on behalf of our entire organization and all of our fans. I mean, the day we wrapped up the 24 season, I think we've been all looking forward to this time period. We get through camp relatively healthy, and some of these new players that we drafted and certainly free agents that we brought in, Monty's done a terrific job. We've now seen him on the field for a few weeks, and now seeing him, where they're lining up on the roster, where they're lining up on the starting lineup, and I'm really impressed with the work that our personnel department did to add to the roster and really, add all this strength, but also what the coaches are doing and what they've done on the field to integrate these new players and build the 2025 roster.
I get the 1,000-mile view as a fan, and you're a big culture guy. It seems like the culture has changed. I know that's a cliche, but I think in this case, it's a different feeling in this building.
Absolutely. I think not only on the football side, the business side too, and it's all about business and getting it done. I think JG has put a stamp on this team a couple of years ago, and I think the veterans, the rookies, everybody's bought in. Same thing on the business side. I think we've done a really good job, and I'm excited about the future of this organization. But it starts now. It's 2025, and we feel like we built a team that should make its move in the NFC West, and now is the time.
It's interesting because I was watching a sports show and they were looking at the NFC West and they were actually talking about the Rams, I think, and they said they were going over their schedule and they pointed to the Cardinals game and they said nobody wants to play them. That's a dangerous team. It's got to be great to hear that again.
It is great. You know, we've got to go out there and take it 1 week at a time, not get ahead of ourselves, not believe what we're reading, and just focus on our own business and take care of our own business. And I tell you what, everybody's excited. The players are chomping at the bit. They want to get through the preseason, of course, get the work in, stay healthy, but we're looking forward to week 1 at New Orleans.
The locker room is what everybody talks about because games can be won and lost with that culture in the locker room. You've got this great young talent. You drafted, people said, so well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then you bring a guy back like Calais Campbell. What is that senior leadership with this young team? What does that do?
Well, I thought it was such a great move when Monty and I were discussing, you know, bringing Calais back. Of course, he's a University of Miami guy,
yeah.
and
I met him. It made my week. So, yeah.
Great culture that they come from University of Miami. But also when he was here, he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He's done so many different things throughout his career, and to get him back at the very end of his career, he makes such a presence, and I know he's going to have a presence during many games because he's got that grit, he's got that experience. He'll keep people calm, but also keep them focused on what they need to do for us to win.
Let's talk about Kyler Murray because you put, obviously, faith is in him. Coaches are saying that he's the guy, he's QB1. How confident are you in what you're seeing in the improvement in Kyler Murray and him maturing?
I think it's all there. But I think we've also built a football team around him, a strong defense, a strong running game, where we don't have to have Kyler put on a Superman cape to win every game for us. We can win games with a balanced offense and a strong defense. He's still going to make plays. He's still a super big part of it. His maturity level is there, and I'm excited about his future and our future as a team. You know, the team he had around him maybe in years past, he really had to do much more. Today, I think we don't have to put as much pressure on him, and he's grown for sure and has really become a great young leader.
And what a difference a rookie season to a second season makes with a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that watching him is night and day. The expectation level for him from himself has got to be through the roof.
I think for all the second-year players and third-year players, you know, they come back, especially second-year players, and they know they belong. They know they can take it to the next level. They know what to expect once they hit the season. Marvin, I think, is going to hit another gear. I'll tell you the other guy I think is going to hit another gear is Trey McBride's looked awesome.
He is something else.
And he's just like Larry. You know, every time Larry got a new contract, he took his performance to the next level. And I feel like what I've seen from Trey during the offseason, during this training camp, I expect him to make a big move too.
Just love talking football again. Thank you so much.
I
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Go Cardinals. Coming up, could we see another housing collapse similar to what happened in 2008? Financial analyst Chris Markowski gives us his take on what's ahead for the U.S. housing market. All eyes on the housing market and the economy. What are interest rates going to do? Joining us now, the expert Chris Markowski, who is a watchdog on Wall Street. Chris, thanks so much for doing this.
Pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the housing market. Now, we know about the crash that happened in 2008. Is there any chance we're going to see something like that again? We have seen a slowing down, but are we going to see a crash?
I think there's a little bit of a difference between 2008 to where we're at today. And that one difference is that even though prices are coming down, and there's a lot of inventory that's hitting the market, these houses are paid for. We've got private equity and a lot of private concerns in Wall Street that own a lot of America. I think BlackRock alone owns over 1 million American homes, and they're paid for. So it's not like in, like in 2008, 2009, where people had adjustable rate mortgages. They were getting reset. People got over their heads, and all of a sudden they were getting foreclosed upon. Completely different scenario. But without a doubt, I think that the levels I've gotten a bit much for everybody. You're talking $455,000 for a median price home here in the United States. That's real tough on Americans.
How much is it connected to interest rates, though? You know, I have a rental property with a 3% mortgage, and the home I live in is over 6%. Are people not giving up those low mortgages still? Is that still part of the issue of people not wanting to give up the lower mortgages?
Oh, I think that's a part of it, but there's other aspects as well. I mean, most people, I guess we're dealing with it in certain parts of the country where you have, say the baby boomers looking to maybe downsize, but they can't downsize and sell. And it has nothing to do with their mortgage because in many cases they have what's called golden handcuffs. The fact that if they move to another piece of property and they want to downsize, their property taxes are going to reset much, much higher. So they get into a bit of a quandary there, and that's an issue as well. Do I think that interest rates are holding some people back? Yes. But Mike, you're involved in real estate. You know this, that when interest rates come down, it's an inverse relationship to the price of real estate. That means people can charge more for that real estate because the cost of money has come down.
When you look at the privatization, possibly of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, taxpayer guarantee still in it, what does this say to you when you see this government messing with these mortgages?
Man, one of the most, to me, in my opinion, one of the more dangerous things in the entire world is when the government starts messing around with the private sector. You know, when they have public-private partnerships, I hear that phrase, I want to run because I know that there's going to be trouble ahead. One of the reasons why we've had inflated prices in homes is because the government does get involved. Anything that the government gets involved with subsidizes. I don't care if it's healthcare. You take a look at the price of health insurance and what's happened since the government gets involved. College education, through the roof. Government subsidizes that as well. And then also homes. You get the government involved, it misprices assets, and it's dangerous.
So the final question is about people that are looking either for the first home or the next home. Is this a time? Is it a buyer's market? Should they be looking to buy right now, nationally, generally speaking, or locally here in the southwestern United States?
It's a great question. It all depends upon you. I don't tell people, like you talk about a great buy on Apple Computer or a stock. I don't look at homes, especially your primary residence, as an investment. Look at it as a bill. Can you afford it? One of the worst things in the world is you can be house poor. If the value of real estate drops by 20, 30%, and I just moved into my home down here where I live in Florida a year ago, am I going to care? No, I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to wake up. The house size is not going to shrink by 30%. Obviously, you want the best value available. But more than that, you want something that you can afford that's not going to break you.
Chris, I appreciate the expertise and the time. People need this peace of mind, especially being the biggest investment most people make is their home. They want to make sure they're making a wise decision. So I appreciate the advice.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, we'll be right back. Coming up, the economy is constantly shifting. But what are the factors involved in the shift? We're taking an in-depth look at Arizona's prices and inflation. That's next on Broomhead. Here's a look at some upcoming events that should be on your radar. The Mother Road Classic Route 66 Car Show happens on August 16th at Flagstaff City Hall. See a range of cars including classics, modern muscle, and tuner cars. I have such a mile-high view of the economy, but when you want to get where the devil is in the details, you talk to Danny Seiden. Thanks again for doing this.
No, glad to be here, Mike. Let's talk economy.
All right, so in Arizona, we saw the inflation numbers come out. The CPI numbers came out, and it's 2.7%, which is not great because it's going in the wrong direction, but not as horrible as some predicted. But in Arizona, in the valley, it's 0.2%. So we're keeping a lid on it. But isn't the other side of this wage growth?
It is, yeah.
If you're going to have a good economy, low inflation, wage growth. Are we seeing that in Arizona?
Arizona's had very good wage growth. Now, it's still, we're not keeping up with some of our price issues. I'll go right to housing. You know, the cost of a house has nearly tripled in the past 25 years or so, whereas wages have only doubled. So we're not keeping up in some key areas where we need to be. So again, housing's its own special issue. You and I have talked about a lot. We have to build more. But no, that's one key component of it. Wages are not growing, I would say, as fast as they should be in order to keep up. But I do think you have to give credit to this administration for trying to give some increased purchasing power to certain levels of earners in the economy. You see the one big beautiful bill had no taxes on tips. It didn't tax overtime. There's some issues with Social Security, right? So giving some people who are living more on fixed incomes a little bit more purchasing power, putting more money in their pocket, that's always a good thing, and that helps offset some of what you're seeing with our price increases. But we still need to have the supply. If demand continues to go down, we don't build enough, we don't sell enough, we don't import enough, we're still going to have high prices.
So here in Arizona, we just found out about the tomatoes and the tariffs there. What does that do immediately? I'm not even guessing long term. Are we going to see real price increases and real challenges in the industry in Arizona?
I do believe there'll be price increases because, again, the most important thing, Mike, and I say this all the time, is whether you think tariffs are good or you think they're bad, we should all be able to agree on one thing. We pay them. Americans pay them. Importers pay them. Whoever is bringing a good into our country, that no matter what anyone else will say, they pay them. Now, maybe as part of the deal, some countries are lowering their prices to account for that, and some of the pass-through isn't happening like we've seen in the past. But we do know that Walmart has seen price increases, and they were blasted by the Trump administration on X and Truth for doing that. We know that Amazon was going to show why some prices were going up as a result of tariffs. So in the consumer retail area, we have seen increases, and once inventory clears and we get closer to Christmas, this will be the time to watch when people start doing their Christmas shopping in October. That will be the real sign. Has it calmed down, or are now we in this new higher level period?
And when it affects your world on the business side of things is restaurants and grocery stores, because we talked about eggs for such a long time with avian flu, that when you take something that is needed every single day in very large numbers in a business like a restaurant, and you increase that price, are they able to compensate for that with their pricing, or are they driving away customers?
Yeah, you can't expect businesses to ever operate at a loss. You have to, that's capitalism. You have to allow us to operate at a profit. That incentivizes increased wages, that incentivizes growth, that incentivizes you to continue to grow your business and hire more people. But no, you raise a good point. But there's so many other factors. Just on eggs, I always want to be very clear. When you've seen the avian flu, as opposed to anything else in the economy, if that hits someone like Hickman Farms in the high percentages, that's going to impact the price of eggs, which it did, yeah. And that has nothing to do with politics. People can try and blame or whatever else. No, that has happened. It's unfortunate, and we wish a great farmer like the Hickman Farms people the best of luck on that recovery. But no, there is going to be some price increases and some pain. That has nothing to do with tariffs or anything else. But looking at restaurants, again, there's things offsetting it right now. If you're a restaurateur and you just had the one big beautiful bill says no tax on tips. So all of a sudden, I don't have to worry about raising wages for my servers as much anymore. Now they have the ability to enjoy more money in their pocket and afford more things. It does help some restaurant owners. Now they would prefer, for the record, a broad across the board cut so that the back of the house gets it as well. But they can figure out some in-house adjustments. But yeah, again, I think it's one of those things where there's bad news. As you said, there's two stacks. There's some bad news and some scary indicators, but there's positive news as well. So, I got to tell you, the extension of the TCJA, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which lowered our corporate income tax to make us competitive in the world, that is the most important issue for our manufacturers, for onshoring, for anything else. In 2017, if you go back to our boom of when we saw the biggest growth of onshoring manufacturing, it was the passage of the TCJA. So the extension to perpetuity that we just saw in the One Big Beautiful Bill, that's huge. That is the number one issue that provides certainty on what your cost structure will be. Now, tariffs are a little bit of an outlier, but to get that tax cut through, you've got to give this administration a lot of credit for getting it done so fast.
You and I have talked for a long time that nationally it was said that Arizona is much better positioned for a downturn, to go into it late and to come out of it early, that we are going to survive and thrive in a much better position because of how it was set up with the previous administration. Do you still believe that's true?
I do. I 100% believe that's true. As a matter of fact, Mike just got back from the Netherlands. Really good example. We met with the EU when we were in Brussels, Sandra Watson, who runs the Commerce Authority, and they were all saying, what has Arizona done? How have you done this? It makes no sense. We can't give money away from the EU CHIPS Act, yet Arizona received the most, and you've been building the most. And we said we make it very easy for people to move here, very easy for people to invest, very easy to hire. And that has really worked out. So looking at our pipeline, we're talking about hundreds of mega projects in the ACA pipeline. We're talking about, 76 HQ relocations. Yeah. All of this has made it clear we can withstand a recession better than almost any other state. I'll throw Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, some of the other high-growth states in there with us. But we have done the best job of diversifying our economy. We're going to continue to grow. We know TSMC has to succeed here. Yeah. There's too much at stake for it. So that $165 billion will continue to boost us up.
All right, they're making me quit.
Nah.
Thanks. It's great to talk with you. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back. Every Sunday here on Broomhead, we ask a new poll question we'd like you to participate in. This week's question is, are you looking forward to watching the Arizona Cardinals this season? All you have to do is head over to cw7az.com/Broomhead to respond to the poll question. Thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next Sunday on Broomhead.